Hi, and welcome to seventh grade social studies. My name is Matt Niemick, and I am your son or daughter's teacher for the upcoming school year. So, I want to tell you guys as much as I can about the course, but I wanted to start off by saying that I've been doing this for a long time. This is now year 20 of me teaching. So, I joke around with my wife that I'm not in my prime for much these days, but I am in my prime when it comes to teaching. I feel like I've got the right amount of experience. I've still got the energy. I've still got so many of the key things that are needed to continue to be a great teacher. I often tell people when I meet new people, they're like, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" And I say, "Oh, I teach. I'm a teacher." And they're like, "Oh, what grade?" And I say, "Seventh grade." And they say, "Oh, I'm sorry. Somebody's got to do it." I don't think I've ever gotten a positive reaction when I told people that I teach seventh grade. But the truth is, I love the grade. I love the age, the challenges, the everything that there is, to know about, and all the characteristics and qualities that seventh graders have. I love the age. I love working with them. So let me go over the course objective. So it is technically to help develop historically literate and well-informed citizens who actively and positively participate in a democratic society. So what does that mean in seventh grade language? They're not going to remember every single detail. I want them to look at the United States as this puzzle and kind of figure out how all the pieces fit together and have a basic understanding of U.S. history, so that they are informed not only about the past, but about the present as well with current events. I think it's so important to understand both sides of an issue. I am always really careful with how I present information to students. You'll never hear your son or daughter come home and say, "Mr. Niemick said," or "Mr. Niemick believes." I'm really careful with how I present things. So I might say something like, "A Democrat would say this. A Republican would say this. Someone who supports the president would say this. Someone who opposes the president might say this." So I'm really careful with how I say things because I truly believe that it is so important for kids to understand both sides of the issue. Whether you agree or disagree with whatever side, it's important to still understand the other side of that issue. I think it's so important for kids to respect and celebrate differences. We live in a society where we hear too many stories about people being disrespected because of their ethnic background, their racial background, their gender, their sexual orientation. It is so important for respecting differences is the way we move farther in our society. I think it's important for us to realize how lucky we are. I like to compare, for example, life for a child 150 years ago when we're talking about the time period of child labor to get kids to recognize how lucky they are to be able to go to a great school and to have all the opportunities that they have. And then finally, I'm looking for kids that positively contribute to society. And if I accomplish all those things, then I think I'm doing my job as a teacher. The basic curriculum covers 1789 to as close to the present as we can get. So rather than give you guys an exact history lesson overview of everything that's going to happen, I just want to briefly tell you that again, we cover 1789 to today. We start out with an introduction into certain themes, getting at the idea that social studies is everywhere. Some basic skills like recognizing sources, how to write a well-supported opinion. Each of our units throughout the year is going to focus on a different theme. So although some people might look at this class and say this is U.S. history, I look at this class and I say, no, this is American studies, because we're looking at history, geography, political systems, economics, and culture of the United States. So this is so much more than just U.S. history. So we're about to get into the Constitution, and we'll do an overview of the Constitution. Again, I'm not going to go through everything here, but you can slow this down and you can read this and you can see exactly what we're going to do unit by unit. But in that unit, for example, we have a political systems focus. In our next unit, geographical and economic change shape the nation, that has more of a geography focus to it. We'll get sometimes, so again, sometimes political systems, sometimes we get to our immigration unit here, number 5, and now we've got more of a focus on culture and immigration and differences. Eventually, we'll get to, America expanding beyond the continental United States, looking into an economic focus with the Roaring Twenties and the Great Depression. So although we get to, I can promise that we'll get to the Cold War and we'll do some civil rights movement after that. Beyond that, honestly, we're going to kind of see how the year goes, and I hope that we can get beyond that. I want to take a moment to explain to you how Canvas works. So this is my dashboard, kind of my homepage. And yes, there's a lot of valuable information here, but this is likely not where you're going to be going to get your information. Where you're probably going to be going to is the calendar. And then from the calendar on a daily basis, Agenda View is the best place to go to. So from Agenda View, for example, if we were to go to Monday, you'd be able to see all the times. Let's say that your son or daughter was in fourth period social studies. Clicking down from there, you're going to see a Zoom link. You're also going to see a file called Articles of Confederation. That's our main topic on Monday. You're going to see that there is an exit slip. You can look on the calendar and you can look in advance to see when the next time is exit slips are going to happen. There's also a copy of a slideshow. This is probably the easiest way to access notes is to go to this slideshow. And then below that, you're going to see a video overview. I often record myself doing like a little lecture of the main topics that we discussed within that class. This is a great resource for kids that are absent, kids that want to go over something a second time. You can have that video explanation from me. A lot of times I'll do a video explanation of an assignment as well. If you want to go backwards, let's say you're looking for something that happened in the past, yesterday, a few days ago, then your best resource is going to be to go to the month view on Canvas. And at that point, you then have access to all of the past agendas. You could then click on that agenda and figure out whatever it is that you missed. If it's notes, whatever it is. So that's just a quick overview of Canvas. There's a lot of information on Canvas, a lot of valuable resources. Please take advantage of those resources. The last few items that I wanted to talk about were the resources. So all of the students do have access to an online textbook, History Alive. I'll periodically have the kids do things within that resource, but most of the resources are going to be files that I make for the kids, slideshows, video clips. I do put, again, a lot of information on Canvas, so absent students should use that as their kind of go-to resource in case they are ever absent. Infinite Campus, you can expect to be updated very quickly. If the kids take an exit slip today in class, you can expect that that same day that exit slip grade is going to be within Infinite Campus. And then finally, when it comes to homework, I personally don't think that I give a lot of homework. I have a fifth grader, I have a seventh grader. I know what it's like to sit at the kitchen table and do homework after adults are tired, kids are involved in activities. So that doesn't mean that there's never going to be homework. There will definitely be occasionally some things that are done in my class, but a lot of times the students have time in class to work on things. So again, I try not to give a lot of homework. I like to say that I make up for the math teachers because I know that they give a lot of homework. All right, and then finally, contact information. Probably the easiest way to get a hold of me is email. These days, there's a lot of teachers sharing classrooms, so phone calls are sometimes a little trickier, but you're always welcome to give me a call. Sometimes if it's an email that might require a lot of visuals and explanation of something, I found that sometimes it's easier for me to just make a video of something and then share it with you that way. So if you have any questions, concerns, please feel free to contact me. Look forward to a great seventh grade social studies year in these challenging times.